Okay, welcome to the first in a series of videos on the creation of a retro video game loosely based around Space Invaders. This grew out of a request from a student who was making a video game and wanted to know how to create lasers for a ship. I had recorded that tutorial and I thought, well, why not just keep going with this and do a whole series and just work up a basic space-themed retro-style video game like Space Invaders. I'm hoping that this could be tweaked. I think of a lot of what I'll do here would be applicable to a whole genre of games that have a player at the bottom of the screen or the side of the screen that can move back and forth and fire lasers at whatever enemy is on the screen. Like Space Invaders or like Centipede was another one. It could be flexed to do something like that, or even Galaga, or even the old school Atari Breakout, like a brick breaking type game. Anything that's sort of like that. Okay, but in this first video, I'm going to cover moving the player ship, so player controls, and also lasers, shooting the laser. All right, let's get started. If we take a look at the code that I have already here, I've created 4 sprites: the laser, the player character, a bad guy, the alien, and a burst, which I'm probably not going to get to in this video. That's for, when you shoot the alien, it will burst. If we head over to the animation tab, take a look at them. I just pulled these out of the code.org library, animation library. We've got the retro-looking ship, the alien. I had a space background here, which I don't think I'm going to use. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of that. I'll eventually make my own space background with stars, but for now I'll just use a black background. This is the burst. And then, of course, we have the potato, since I am calling the Space Potaters. That will come into play at a later time. Not sure exactly how, but we'll work that in. Actually, need to add a draw sprites here. And I need to add a background. And we're just going to, again, I'm going to take this out and make my own later, but we're not going to worry about that. So if I run this, there we have my ship and my alien. I've already scaled them down, so they're not huge, appropriate size. The laser that I created, I guess I forgot to mention that. I created this myself. It's 2 pixels wide by 50 pixels long. It's just a yellow rectangle. Okay, so the first thing I want to do here is add some player controls. So I'm going to create a function that is going to be called update player. And when that function is called, it's going to send us down here, update player. It'll send us down here into this update player function. This is where I'm going to code my player controls. So each time through the draw loop, it's going to call this function, come down here, update my player controls. And you can obviously use whatever keys you want. I'm going to use the left and the right arrow keys for now to control my player ship. We're going to add a conditional that is if the left key is pressed down. So key down, left, and when the left key goes down, we want to move the player to the left, which is the negative x direction. So we're going to do player.x equals player.x minus, well, let's say 5 right now. I think that's a good speed. So I'm just using the counter pattern here. I'm taking the player's current x position, subtracting 5 from it, storing it back into the x position. So that should move my player left. Let's see if it works. Yes, indeed. I can move left now. We're going to do the same thing with the right arrow key. So I'm just going to grab this and copy and paste it. And I'm going to change this from left to right. And if I'm moving to the right, that is in the positive x direction. So change that to positive. And it's as easy as that. We now have left and right movement of the ship. I'm also going to put in forward and backward. I don't know if I'm going to use those. I might disable it later, but I'm going to put it in now for testing purposes. Why not, since we're here? Copy and paste those. And this is going to be up, the up arrow, and the down arrow when those are pressed. Now, if I'm going up, I'm going in the negative y direction, so this needs to be changed to y, negative y direction. And if I'm going down, I'm going in the positive y. So we'll change this to y, and give that a try. Yes, indeed, we have motion. Nice. Okay. I'm going to do one other thing here. I'm going to make one other change. This is sort of like an abbreviation for the counter pattern. There's another way we can write this that's faster, and it makes the code a little easier to read, I think. It's just an abbreviation. It's the exact same thing as saying player.x equals player.x minus 5, but you can actually just do player.x minus equals 5. That will do the exact same thing. And here, we're going to do player.x plus equals 5. And here we're going to do player.y minus equals 5 and player.y plus equals 5. Let's try it. Yep, works exactly the same. Player control's done for the moment. Let's move on to coding those lasers. So I'm going to create another function that is going to be update lasers. Update laser. And then we're going to come back down here and say function update laser. And we're going to code that down here. Now let's think about this for a sec. The player is going to be moving around, right? So when we fire a laser, we have to know the ship's position, the player's position, so we can put the laser at the player's position and then give it a velocity up. We're going to grab the player's x and y positions. So that would be player.x and player.y. And we're going to set the laser's x and y positions to those positions. That would be laser.x, laser.y. So it doesn't matter where the player is, we're going to grab its position and we're going to set the laser's position to that. Where did we initially create the laser? It's at 600, negative 10. So the x is 600. It's over here off screen and a little bit above screen. And it's just waiting there for us for when we want to fire it off. Then we'll move it to the player and then we'll give it a velocity upward, which would be in the negative y direction. So let's do that. We want to say laser.velocity y is equal to negative. We're going to do negative 40 for now. That'll be a good fast laser shooting across the screen. I forgot to put in my semicolons. Oh, so it's already there, right? Because we didn't put in a conditional that says if I press a key down, move it there. So it's already moved there. So we gotta fix that. We gotta put in a conditional here. And I'm going to tie the laser to my space key. So if key down space, then we're going to make the laser move. And I'm going to indent these. And then I need another curly brace here. There we go. Let's try it. There it is. Seems to be working. A couple of weird things we got to fix here. If I press the space key and hold it, the laser does not fire. I got to release the key in order for it to fire off. That's something we can fix. Also, notice it's not really coming out of the nose of the ship. I need to move the laser. I need to bump it to the right a tiny bit. And we also have this behavior where if I rapidly press the space key, it's moving the laser back to the ship, and we don't want that to happen either. We gotta figure out how to fix that. So 3 little things we gotta fix. Let's fix the positioning of the laser first. So we can do that just by adding a little bit to, we're gonna grab the player's X position and just add a little bit to it. Let's add 3 pixels and see where that gets us. That's pretty good, but not perfect. Let's try 4. Bam. Right on target. The next thing is we got to deal with this. We want the laser to travel all the way across the screen before we put it back on the player ship. So we can do that by adding another conditional. We can say, well, it's not another conditional, it's another Boolean in the same one. We can say when we press the space key down and the laser is off the screen, above the screen, then we're gonna move it and give it velocity. So if key down space and the laser dot y is less than 0, that means it's off the screen above, then we will move it onto the player. What's this? I've got one too many. There we go. Let's try that. Bingo. And you know what? For whatever weird reason, this also solved the problem with holding the space key down. I now have auto fire. That's weird. I'm gonna have to think about why that happened, but good. We now have lasers. The one thing we're missing here is sound effects, and that's a huge thing in video games. It makes games so much better, and it's easy to add a little sound effect. So let's do that to play sound. And I'm going to search for laser. Yeah, that's the one. Let's try it out. Yes! Pew, pew, pew! It's working well. Now, there's one weird little nuance here. Notice when I get closer to the top of the screen, the lasers fire more rapidly because they're going off the screen quicker. So we might not want that. Maybe you do, I don't know. But that might be something to change in the future. I'm not going to worry about it right now, but something to be aware of because of the way that we worked our conditional here. Okay, I think that's it for the first one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.